On this episode of ResiWeek, SnapAV buys Volutone, 7 evolving luxury trends, and dealing with Takeover AV projects. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek, episode 146, Hub and Spoke.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by
Peerless AV, driving technology through innovation.
And by HD Base T.
Welcome to ResiWeek. This is your weekly wrap-up of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv, and today I'm pleased to be joined by Bob Archer. He is the senior editor of CE Pro. How are you, sir?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Then we have my longtime friend, Stephen Bronner. He's the president of Pro Audio Georgia. How you doing, bud?
Outstanding.
And the unfortunate soul who was there when Stephen and I met and fell in friendship love, Andre Lalonde. He is our one of our consistent industry experts. How are you, my friend?
I'm still looking for the snow camel, but besides that, we're doing great.
Man, I'd love a snow camel, because then it would mean we'd have a ton of snow, and that would be good. So let's kick off a conversation that revolves around Southern California and Vegas as we talk about snow. SnapAV, if you missed the news last week, acquires Volutone as part of a local strategy. SnapAV has been doing this as of late. They picked up AllNet earlier this year, supposedly got a tremendous response out of that, and continues down this local path, acquiring Volutone. They have 7 locations in Southern California up through Las Vegas area. The couple of key things is they will retain their name, location, teams, and policies moving forward. We'll take that with a grain of salt. But they are also going to maintain both SnapAV products as well as the Volutone website, and SnapAV products will be available through the Volutone website, and they're going to maintain their existing product offerings that Volutone had. So, Bob, I want to start with you on this. We're continuing to see this trend of large distributors, specifically ones that have mainly had an online presence. They continue to buy these local distributors and expand their, bricks and mortar, their local locations. Why do we keep seeing this?
I think it's simply to make their products more accessible to more dealers in more ways. Coincidentally, I was down in North Carolina last week visiting with SnapAV, and they were kind of explaining to me some of their motivation behind all of this. And simply it comes down to, if dealers want to physically walk up to one of their storefronts, we'll call it, they can simply walk in and get an Arachnus router or whatever they need, binary cables, whatever product line that we're talking about. They want to be more accessible to more dealers.
Very good. Stephen, when you see this type of news, don't know if you're a big SnapAV dealer, don't really care, but there is something to be said for, as Bob alluded to, normally if you needed an Arachnus router or a Sunbright TV or any of the products, an episode speaker, that, they're really quick. You could put in your order. You could get it next day. Sometimes that's not good enough. As a dealer, what do these kind of changes mean for you when, say, your local distribution house gets purchased by a larger company?
So we went through that here in Atlanta many years ago when Custom Audio was bought by Avid, and then Avid was bought by Ingram Micro. So I don't really care. Like you said, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not a SnapAV dealer per se, but what I will say is that whenever these big companies start buying these smaller companies, inevitably you lose that relationship that you have. So that's what happened here with Avid, was we lost the relationship. What I will say is that if you're watching this and you work for SnapAV or whatever, don't destroy the relationships, because I was doing a ton of business with Avid, and the guys that were there when it was custom audio, and then Avid got bought by Ingram Micro. They started doing this hub and spoke and all these different corporate structures, and next thing you know, everybody you know in the company is gone. Just poof. And it's like, where did everybody go? So I don't care that these companies are buying. I think it's very interesting. There are brands that Volutone carries that SnapAV didn't carry. So now I wonder if all of those brands are going to pop up on SnapAV's website.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also an interesting spin on this for a business aspect, is now the fast shipping and the availability in the website that you had with with Volutone and SnapAV, now all that combines, and you're going to be able to get all those brands under one umbrella. I think it's a win for SnapAV dealers across the board. I just hope it's not a loss for Volutone.
Very good. Andre, the biggest thing that I really pulled out of this was not that they're going local, that they're doing all these other things, but that they're going to maintain the existing vendor relationships. They're going to be stocking what they've always stocked and then adding a bunch of SnapAV products as well. What is the driving factor with them doing that, opposed to just, come in and say, hey, we've got a lot of duplicity here, we're just going to maintain our lines?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Trevor and his dad and the rest of the team over there, because they've done an absolutely amazing job with Volutone. And it's nice to see that the Volutone name will continue, and that level, that special family level of customer service that they're they have a notoriety for, is going to continue. I think ultimately what comes down to is now you'll be able to buy SnapAV things and devices inside of their will calls, inside of their shopping center type of thing that they have. They have some of their store in Van Nuys, for example, and Volutone is more of a shopping type of environment. You literally walk around with a little shopping cart, throw things in your box, and then you check out. And meanwhile, there are advisors all the way around that can help you and answer any type of questions. So I think it's more about the adding of SnapAV product lines to the Volutone shopper versus taking the lines from Volutone, which may or may not be tied back to SnapAV. So this is more about a 1+1 in the field, not necessarily a 1+1 back in the cloud or back in the warehouse.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our next story of the day. This comes to us from CE Pro, 7 Evolving Trends for Upscale Brands in 2019. The Luxury Institute report just released this. There's a couple big things that we'll kind of gloss over really quickly. If you want to read it, check out the article online. Essentially, big brands or big luxury brands want alpha growth. Legacy luxury brands will lose a value. New luxury brands are in the tech sector, which is interesting to us. And luxury brands will invest in their people as affluent customers are starting to lose trust in social media. Let's kick this right off with Steven. I wanted to kind of start with you on this. You're the one integrator on the show today. When you start to see these types of reports, right, that luxury brands and luxury buyers are changing and evolving, is this something that your luxury clients, because, I've known you a long time, I know some of your clientele, is this something that you actually see with your customers, with your luxury high-end customers? Are they seeing legacy brands and devaluing them? Are they looking for tech luxury brands? What are you seeing here?
Here's the interesting thing that I'm seeing. There's no such thing as a tech luxury brand right now. All the tech that we're seeing right now that people are reading about is all consumer grade stuff. When you think of in our industry, when we think of a luxury brand, whether it be accurate or inaccurate, we think about things like Macintosh, Vocal, things like those kind of brands where it's not something you can walk into a Best Buy and pick up. So when you talk about tech luxury brands, it's very interesting because to most people, a tech luxury brand is Apple. You look at a premium priced product that people look at and they kind of want. There's some virtual reality stuff, augmented reality stuff coming out that's kind of on the cutting edge. When I read this article, I thought it was very interesting. And yes, I agree with the article 100%. The new generation that's coming up that has the the funding and has the resources to buy this equipment, they really couldn't possibly care less about Macintosh. What they're interested in is brands that they recognize as tech leaders. So whenever you talk about somebody, an amplifier company or a speaker company, they're not as interested in that. But when you start talking about companies for control or experiences, so when you talk about simulations, just sold a shooting simulator to one of my clients. It's a shooting simulator, even though he tells his wife it's just a golf simulator. So it's really awesome. She doesn't know that feature exists yet, so she'll know soon. But my point is that that's the kind of tech that whenever we start talking to clients, they're into luxury brands, they don't really care about the same luxury brands that we're used to talking about. If somebody called me and they said, "Oh, I've got some Lingendorfs and you need to come check these out," I would be all over that. Where these people, they don't care. So I think we're missing two things there. There are really no established luxury technology brands. I think the closest one would be Tesla. Whether that's misplaced or not is your opinion. But I would say that brands like Tesla, and then other than that, maybe Apple. I just can't seem to find one. But I agree with the article, almost everything it says.
Very good. Andre, when you read this, one of the things that stuck out to me that I wanted to ask you about was this new concept of a fourth, distribution channel. Specifically, they're referring to it as consumer to consumer, which is like an app-based piece of software that's allowing customers to recommend things and see something in an Instagram post that I posted, and you can buy it directly from that post. When you start to read about that, we've had our traditional, three verticals of sales distribution forever. Do you see this as something that can take off in that luxury channel?
Absolutely. And if you don't believe me, I think there's the little sisters that are very famous on Lifetime TV. I keep it just it just eluded on me. But bottom line is the power of the 5-star community, the power of being able to go up and recommend brands and position certain brands and people using certain brands. And it's the I want to be like me type of brand. And therefore, that is definitely a new channel that I think, experienced marketeers, especially those going after this upper echelon customer, are definitely going to want to be attracting. So yeah, I do see it as a new channel. I don't think it's going to be a very large channel. It'll be clearly a niche type play, but ultimately it does have its merits and definitely is going to have some legs for some of these very, very, very specific type of brands that are, geared towards the upper echelons.
Very good. Bob, when you see this, and you can happily throw your coworker there, Jason, under the bus on this one, but when you when you see this, and this way we'll find out if Jason watches my show when he's not on it, how do integrators take advantage of these types of surveys? This has a lot of really good information, but even as an integrator myself, I look at this and go, okay, now what do I do with this? How do I leverage this to change my marketing, my sales strategy? What do I do with this?
Well, I think, first of all, it varies on how sophisticated the dealer is and how well he understands these numbers to be able to turn it into appropriate marketing materials. I think specifically with this study, we have to keep in mind, and I think it was Stephen that was saying that about the brand awareness. I think we have to be aware of the fact simply that most consumer electronics brands, other than Bose, Sony, Samsung, Apple, really don't have that level of consumer awareness. It's one thing for a BMW or a brand like that, or Lexus, automotive brands like that, or some other brands, to be able to leverage, their brand identity. But the consumer electronics market is still trying to aspire to those kind of levels. So we're not there yet, and we won't be able to get there until we start educating the public on what some of these brands are that we offer consumers.
Very good. All right, gentlemen, let's go to our next story of the day. This is coming from our site, AVNation. An AV takeover, the Olin Mansion. If you don't know, Joe Whitaker from Thoughtful Home is a fairly consistent guest on our show. He's a good friend of ours. And Tim, who we work with, got to get out there and take a look at this project that Joe and his team at Thoughtful Home took over. Read through it. It's a really interesting read. But essentially what happened is an integrator came in, did a bunch of work. Maybe some of it was subpar, etc. But Joe and his team were able to come in, as Stephen gives me, maybe. Joe and his team were able to come in and, really give it a complete overhaul, fix everything, get everything moving. Andre, I want to start with you on this. We've all done this. We've all walked into a project where somebody's screwed it up, didn't meet expectations, maybe wasn't qualified, maybe was overqualified. Long and short, there were problems. And your customers come to you as an integrator to come in and fix this. What do you as an integrator need to do when you walk into these kind of situations to protect yourself? Because there's always going to be problems that, either can't be budgeted for to be properly corrected, or just unknown hidden things that you're going to come across that neither yourself nor the client is prepared for. How do you protect yourself when you walk into these messes?
I think the first thing is to try to keep it just like any other project, right? Really do your due diligence and really try to get a better understanding of what the consumer was expecting, what they were wanting, what was the original purpose of it, and try to understand what solution was put into place, and really try to see where these two aren't matching together, right? What was it? Is it a question of unrealistic expectations and therefore the dealer's not really? Is it a question of the solutions that were put into place? Was there budget pressure? Right, so really try to do the root cause analysis without driving the other dealer under the bus, without obviously driving the consumer under the bus, without trying to drive yourself under the bus, right? It's really get a better understanding, take a look at this, and then almost consider it like a brand new project. Yeah, there happens to be some plumbing. Great. Let's take a look at this and let's see how we can make this better. And then maybe try to educate the consumer along the way, especially if the root cause was more their, outstanding requirements versus common sense.
Very good. Bob, when you see projects like this and you read about them, the biggest thing that always comes into my head is how do you put that client at ease? Because it's not the same as when you get called out to a brand new project, as Andre alluded to. That client already has issues. They already usually will have some form of trust issue with any integrator that comes in, no matter how good you, or in this case, Joe and the Thoughtful Home team was. How do you come in and put that client at ease?
And I think it's probably a two-step process. It's really many steps, but probably the two most important things are, one, to document everything. So that enables the other half of this, which would be to be as communicative as possible. If you're as clear and transparent and communicative as possible with the client, hopefully there's no surprises other than what they find behind the walls that some dealer did that you're trying to fix now.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Stephen, again, as the integrator today, you and I, we've talked about this off air. We've talked about walking into projects where we've pulled out hair, some of us more than others, as we can see. But, we've been there. When you're walking into something like this, what's going through your mind and how do you plan to approach these kind of projects?
First and foremost, there is never a reason to lose your professionalism. There is never a reason to trash another integrator. If you're on the project, they've done that well enough on their own. So when you walk in, there's no reason to walk around going, man, he should have done this, or man, he should have done that, or can you believe they did this or that? Or I have found that is very common when I'm working with integrators. I do a lot of consulting. I do a lot of cleanup work. So I'm actually very prepared for this conversation. And the one thing that I tell people is what's happened in the past is in the past. I agree. I agree with what Andre said. You treat it like a new project. You walk in and you're there to clean up a mess. The client's already upset. There's no reason to drag that out. You don't know what happened with the other integrator. I'm going to be honest with you. Half the time, if not more, it's not the integrator's fault. It is a budgetary issue. It's unreasonable expectations. It's they got a champagne taste on a beer budget, and they're trying to make things happen that they can't afford. So they get frustrated with the integrator because they keep giving them the truth. They want a second opinion. Anytime you walk in to clean up a job, and sometimes it's just terrible work, and that's part of the industry. But when you walk in to clean up a job, the first and foremost thing that I tell all the guys that I work with is, what happened before you got here is none of your business. You are there to make things right, to make the client happy, and to give them the experience they're looking for. You're not there to prejudge what the other person did. You're not there to even talk about that. That stuff's in the past. And that's the number one tip I give people, because clients, even a negative client, feeds off of negativity. So if you're negative, they're going to be negative, but they also feed off of positivity. So if you come in and you say, hey, we're here, we're going to make this house an amazing experience. I hate that you had a bad experience before, but you won't have that this time. Tell me what you want to do with your system. Tell me the lifestyle. Tell me what you're trying to accomplish. Instead of sitting down and going, hey, how many speakers do you want? Stop talking about the equipment. Come in and go, tell me what kind of experience you want in your system. And it totally changes the conversation, because a lot of guys, especially ones that do terrible work, they don't understand that it's not about boxes. And as soon as you come in and start talking about experiences and aesthetics and things like that, I have sold really big systems and never once talked about how many speakers or what boxes we were using or anything. So like I said, let that stuff go in the past. Do not come in trashing other integrators. It's a bad look on you, and it's a bad look on the industry.
Very good. I agree with that wholeheartedly. All right, gentlemen, let's hit our last story of the day. This comes to us from the New York Times. How to tell if those Black Friday deals are actually worth buying. I'd say probably not.
No.
Bob, I wanted to start with you on this. Everybody seems to, be aware of Black Friday. They follow it. They know what's going on. When it comes to home theater professionals, everybody within our channel, is there value, or do we just get lost in the noise trying to market something? Like I know for myself and my company, the one thing that we always get pushed is, hey, do a Sonos thing, because Sonos always does these big Black Friday things. How do we not get lost in the noise, or do we just give up on that type of marketing?
I would really question the value of trying to compete with Black Friday. There are some big retailers doing Black Friday specials, and it can be frustrating. But you look at a retailer like REI; they've completely pulled out of Black Friday, and they're telling people to go hiking. Literally, go take a hike. So, I think if a dealer is looking to do something like that to grow their sales during the holidays through holiday promotions or something like that, maybe something online may be better. Maybe try to leverage Cyber Monday or something and promote their website at the same time.
Very good. Stephen, I knew as soon as I mentioned it, you were going to give me a hard time. But the question I had for you was, when we look at this, when we look at Black Friday, it's not uncommon. Mine started last night. I have clients texting me saying, hey, I saw this. Should I buy this? And, we have that conversation. But how should dealers prepare to deal with potentially that onslaught of clients seeing stuff and wanting to know, hey, what should I get?
I love it. I 100% love it, because you know what that means? That means that as soon as they saw something with technology built in, the first thought they had was, I'm going to call the expert. That is exactly what every single person in our industry should be hoping for. If you make it past Black Friday and you don't get any calls from your clients, you suck. That's basically that's the gist of it. If you make it that far and your clients are not calling you, asking you questions, you suck and you have yourself to blame. So I also embrace it. I have clients that I know that are looking for a TV for a media room. I have 3 of them right now. So what did I do? LG just put their 86-inch LED TV on sale for $2,500. $2,500. So what did I do? I called those clients, all 3 of them, and I said, hey, you know what? The LG just put the TV that I was recommending to you for your game room or whatever on sale for $2,500. It's $2,000 off. Go buy it. And they'll say, well, Stephen, I'd rather get it from you. All 3 of them have said that. Stephen, I'd rather get it from you. Well, we get the same deals that Best Buy gets. So I sold 3 of those TVs to clients that had no clue the sale was going on for $2,500. We made $400 or $500 off each TV. But they loved it because I saw a sale and I knew that it fit their needs. And instead of trying to push them expensive boxes, I gave them what they needed and they got a discount on it. So the next time they need something and I go, well, Jim, or well, Robbie, that's going to be $8,000. Well, maybe they were expecting $6,000, but when they hear $8,000 and they know that I'm not the guy that rips them off, now I don't have to answer those questions. It's, hey, Stephen, go ahead. If you say that's what it is, that's what it is. So you need to embrace those phone calls. Do not dodge those phone calls. Black Friday shopping day, I get probably 20 to 30 phone calls every year on a good year. That's on a slow year. People that are out, they're buying stuff. They're at Home Depot. They're at Best Buy. They're wherever, and they're seeing these electronics, and they want to know, should I buy this? Should I buy this? Man, that is the biggest compliment anyone can give you, to know what your profession is and to respect you enough to make you the first phone call they make.
Very good. And that example is the exact amount of trust that we're trying to garner with our clients. Andre, I'll give you the last word on this. Are Black Friday shoppers, are they really our clientele?
Well, I guess that answer is it depends. In most cases, I would say probably
you are so
not.
Canadian.
I am so Canadian, but the reality is this: who doesn't want to save money, right? Who doesn't want to be taking a look at the latest technology? And let's face it, if there's one thing Black Friday has done extremely well, whether you be in the UK or in Canada, which technically really doesn't have a Black Friday, but they do now, thanks to the US, and of course the US, is now we're talking about technology and we're talking about new solutions, and all this stuff is now coming to the surface. Yes, sir.
Andre, if it's a US thing, you can't say about technology, you have to say about technology.
Oh, I'll give you the 2 points even though your Bulldogs suck. But anyway, it's notice T for Temple. So here's the reality of this. It's created, people are talking, people are calling Steve, and people are calling Matt. People are asking me as an industry person, hey, is this a good deal? Is this what it is? It's giving the opportunity for our dealers to actually go and maybe save a couple of bucks. Steven, you just brought up a really good example, right? Hey, tell you what, I'll go pick them up for $2,500 and I'll charge you $3,000 to do the install and whatever else. Great, you saved some money. You still got that customer. You're still making more profit. I'll go buy those Amazon devices for $29 each instead of paying $49. You know what? If they sit on my truck for a whole 2 weeks, big deal. This is awesome because then I'll be able to sell them for $30 or $49, or I'll appear to be the big guy and basically, look, I got them for $29. I'll give them to you anyway. It helps the consumer save money. It helps the dealers save money. It helps the entire industry. And by the way, this Saturday is called Small Business Saturday. If you're a dealer and you're not using Small Business Saturday to your advantage, and basically say, look, it's not about the big sales. It's about who I am, the knowledge that I have, the white gloves that I'm providing, and how I can pull all this magic together. My name is Steven. How are you, right? Welcome to the 12-step program of Black Friday.
Very good. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We had a fantastic show. Bob, if people want to connect with you, where can they do that?
They can visit our website at www.cepro.com.
Excellent. Thanks again. Steven, always a pleasure, mostly. When or if people want to connect with you, where can they do that, bud?
You can find me at ProAudio_GA on Twitter, ProAudioGeorgia.com on the interwebs. and pretty much everywhere. Just Google Stephen Bronner, and if you need something, call me. I love to talk to other integrators.
Excellent. Thanks again for being here. Andre, my good friend, thanks again for joining us. If people want to connect with you, where is the best location to do that?
LinkedIn or Twitter at Andre Lalonde. No problems. Happy to answer any questions and any commentary.
Beautiful. Thanks again, gentlemen, for joining us. If you are in the U.S., happy Thanksgiving. This is going to be airing the day before, so enjoy. I know I'll be taking the day off to watch football and eat turkey and do all kinds of fun stuff. So hopefully you are as well. But thanks again for joining us. For myself, if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me at Matt D. Scott on Twitter and every other social platform. But more importantly, please stop by AVNation.tv, where you'll find this show as well as a wide variety of our other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take a moment to check out our supporters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you check them out as well. Thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek.